recording. All right, full disclosure, we are recording. All right, so it would look something like this. So here is your basic setup. Yeah. And what I have everybody do in Web 2 is use the same plugin to do their gallery. And here's your standard modal lightbox. And normally what we do is we would first use this plugin, and then I go, well, how do we make this from scratch? And we'd go through and we'd spend all quarter, right, just remaking this entire thing. And by the end of the quarter, some of us would choose to, use what we made in class, and some of us would choose to use this plugin. So what do we get with this plugin that we normally wouldn't get? So this is a very, very popular Lightbox gallery, right? This is made by, I don't want to butcher his name, but Sachin Chuler. Sachin Chuler, he has made this plugin, and it's been used quite a bit in many different websites. What I need you to know from all of this and the light gallery here is you have to use the pure JavaScript version. The very, very popular jQuery one, right, is this dark blue, right? We're going to use the teal version. So this is the dark blue, okay? So don't use the dark blue, don't use a jQuery version, don't use a jQuery version, don't use a jQuery version, okay? We good? Which version are we going to use? All right, anonymous student.
Is there a particular question why you don't want us using the jQuery version?
Yeah, we don't know jQuery. I haven't taught you. That's it. jQuery is the framework that we use prior to late 2018. We have used it all the way up into there. And Brian, if you want to have a quick aside about what jQuery is and why we're using it, I'll gladly talk about it. It was one
I
of the
have some interaction with jQuery from some of my other classes. I was just curious.
We're browsers. The best thing about John Resig, who created jQuery, let me do a quick aside, everybody. All right. One, he's an amazing human being. Two, he created jQuery for it to die. He wanted it to kill itself off. And I think that is amazing. Like, for someone to create something and basically say, like, no, I'm making this as a stopgap solution. And he realized that his solution, it wasn't going to last forever. Eventually, browser makers began to implement some of the ideas that he had introduced that didn't exist before. And so he made writing JavaScript easier. And now we have all these ES6 methods, right? You heard me. Remember we talked about ES6 inside of your homework. This latest and greatest version of JavaScript. Oh, what is that? I don't know what that is. Okay. Good. Okay. So there you go. Quick little detour. Yeah, it was one of the hardest decisions that I had to make. It's like, it really makes our life easy in a lot of ways, but in some ways it just adds additional dependencies that we don't need anymore. So we're using the vanilla JavaScript version, this version. All right. All that said, let's go ahead and make this thing. Let's get into the professor pen here, because today we should be doing stuff like this. Okay. Good question, Brian. But yeah, if you want to have what other classes did you use jQuery in?
Web application development. Also had to use PHP. I hate PHP so much.
It's a good language. It's a good language.
Anyone that says that seriously hasn't messed with it.
It gets the job done. I'm not a PHP advocate at all. Don't get me, but it gets the job done. It's widely used for a reason. I will say that. How's that?
That is very true.
It's widely used for a reason. It gets the job done. But there's no language enthusiast that would say it's a good language. Oof, it's not a good language. Okay, let's get into this. All right. So we already made the carousel from last class, and now someone go ahead and remove everything. And a good place to get started, as always, is I've already asked for this clear button. So let's hit save and close on this. All right, let's get into our markup. All right, and our markup is pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of complexity to this markup to make this thing go. What example did I use? I'm here, I'm clicking, done with that. All right, so first off, we're gonna go ahead and add in the basic setup. I haven't done this in a while, y'all. Let's see here. We're gonna act on the parent. Maybe I should have done this one before class. Yes, I'm saying that as full disclosure. All right, first we need a thumbnail. So let's go ahead and take care of that. We need a thumbnail, la 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 la, da 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 da. Yeah, all right. Demo, like gallery, check. Okay. So we're gonna need a thumbnail. I'm gonna make a single thumbnail image, okay? This is gonna be HTTP placehold.it. And this is our 100 by 100 thumbnail. Right. And the alt attribute should be thumbnail. All right, and so what we would do is we would go ahead and just remake this entire thing from scratch. And what we see here with Light Gallery, it has an ability to play. It'll play through your stuff. It'll do this full screen. Okay, and so really what I'm trying to do right now is sell you on this idea of, right, give you the ability to zoom, and also gives you the ability to, if you wanted to share your work, to download. And then there's this share button. And what we're going to have you do is the ability to customize not only how it looks, but how it behaves for using the Light Gallery API. So what I'm going to try to do right now is try to sell you on this idea of like, hey, we don't need to remake our entire Light Gallery unless there is a feature that is missing, or you just don't have the time or the want to make it. Okay, so now that we got all that, right, a lot of practice. You take a long weekend and you're like, this is all new to me. All right. And then to make that link, we're going to go ahead and make this go somewhere. Okay. So that's going to be a no link. Okay. So normally, now why this is a no link? Well, what's going to happen is it's not going to run the no link. It's actually going to take this link and it's going to show the large scale version. Okay. And so let's make the large scale 800 by 600 or 400, good size. Okay, so basic functionality, right? You go to your browser, your JavaScript is disabled, this can't run, you click on this, it's gonna run the large scale version. That's base principles. That's first principle, like this thing has to work this way without any CSS, without any JavaScript, okay? And this is what makes for a good Lightbox gallery. And Light Gallery does this along with the one that we made, we would have made in class. Like the whole thing should, if it doesn't work, someone should still be able to get to your content. Okay, look, we can still get to the content. Is our experience different? Yes, right. But is the content still accessible? Yes, and that's what we were looking for. All right, so now that we got that, all right, so there's our big one, 800 by 400, and we know our thumbnail is 100 by 100. So I'm gonna go ahead and refresh that. Okay, so let's get one working. And then to get this working, you're basically going to group this inside of any ID that you like. Okay, in this case, this ID is going to be Light Gallery. So we're going to go ahead and take this. And you're going to put this on the parent. And this parent can be an order list. This parent can be a simple div. And we're just going to make a basic div here. Div pound light, div pound Light Gallery. We're just going to wrap that up. Okay. And so this is how I want you to approach any plugin. Like you're looking at this plugin for the first time. You're looking at this basic demo. Now what I want you to do is like, all right, this is great. I like this. Now how does this work? And then once we understand how it works, we can begin to add all of the additional layers. What I don't want you to do with any plugin, right, since day one, if we've been talking about this, don't just come in here and just start moving around large blocks of code. Right? The best thing I can probably teach you is how to kind of reverse engineer these things to get to see how something works. And that's what we're going to be doing with P5 today. Okay, so we got that open. All right, so now let's get into the CSS. Okay, CSS is what we're missing to do this. And so from the Light Gallery here, I'm going to go ahead and add that. Now, I'm putting this into here because it doesn't exist. Right? This does not exist. Oh, they gave me I just want the URL string. All right, so go ahead and copy that and paste it into here because this doesn't exist. Bye-bye, Flickity. okay? Because it doesn't exist right here inside of Light Gallery. Now the JavaScript plugin exists, but the Light Gallery itself does not, right? It does not exist. So, so we're going to go ahead and add that in manually, and this is going to give us all of the styling for the gallery. This is going to give us that modal overlay, right? That black background. But notice what's happening right here. It's counting for us. Right? This is a big deal right there. Yeah. All right, so we got that. We got this thing working, and now we need to turn this thing on, and that's a very simple call. It's like, hey, Light Gallery, wake up. Okay. So we're going to run this Light Gallery object, right? And that's what this is right here. Like, this didn't exist before, right? That's this idea of an object. But the JavaScript didn't have this thing called Light Gallery before. It's not a part of its core. There's math and date, and there's window, and there's events, right? But Light Gallery isn't a part of all that. And so you ask yourself, like, well, if this thing doesn't exist, how can I create it? And that's why JavaScript has this convention of an object, right? And that's why you hear this term object-oriented programming, right? You're making these things that we can reuse over and over again. And how are those things stored and referenced, right? They're referenced and they're stored and used and referenced inside this thing called an object. Okay. You're good there? Thumbs up on this one? Check. With me. Let me know that you're there. Anthony, Garrett, Josh. Okay, all right. And then we're just gonna say, all right, we're gonna Light Gallery. Light Gallery what? Well, we already know that you're gonna get the document by what? Just get it by the ID. We got this ID of Light Gallery, hit save, click on plus. Okay, and oh, now I'm getting this error. Why am I getting this error? Because I didn't add in Light Gallery. All right, so I'm going to give you the link now to the Light Gallery source. Okay, go ahead and copy that to clipboard. Okay. And this is this idea of just adding in all the missing pieces, right? So again, you can't reference something that isn't there. Now we're going to make sure that it is there. So go ahead and add that into our JavaScript. Now you could come into here and just go Light Gallery. Okay, and this is the one that you would want, this one right here with the 0 dependencies. All right, but or you can just copy in the source, which I gave you. And again, where did I get all these source URLs from? From the Light Gallery website. All right, so all I did was I went to his source right here for you, the official documentation, and I said, all right, where are you hosting this source file? Okay, where are we now? All right, refresh that, hit plus, there you go. All right, oh, I'm gonna put this into professor mode, hit this, right, and there we are. That is the basic fundamentals, I mean, the basic, not fundamentals, like the basic setup of this plugin. Okay, now, before we take a look at some of the options, I want you to get used to this idea. Here's JavaScript, galleries. All right, well, you can search this on Google, ready? Why am I making this like explosion sound, right? Because here are top 50. Here are, it's just too many, right? There's top 20, top 40. Why do we need 49, 30, right? There's all these like why are so many people? Why are there 15, 15, 18? If you start to add up all these numbers, there are a lot of JavaScript gallery solutions. So why this one? Well, I just thought this one would be best for our class. Right, so I went through it. I went and looked at all this. I'm like, well, I don't like that implementation. Right, look at this one, 50 excellent. Right, 50, 5-0. Okay, so there are literally hundreds of different JavaScript implementations of a Light Gallery, and this is that UI pattern. Right, there's the same pattern of I have a thumbnail, I click on it. So here's one that we've never seen before, that I've never seen before. Actually, I've looked at some of these. Sorry. I'm gonna pretend like I haven't seen it before. Okay, you're gonna click on it, right? And all it's gonna do is zoom, right? It's gonna do that. That's that pattern. It looks different because that's CSS, but functionality, it's the same. So let's go ahead and go to this one, right? We got a bunch of thumbnails. Let's find an example here. Some of these are paid, some of these are free. This one is, looks like this one is paid, right? This one has an admin interface, but yeah, okay, good. Click on the thumbnails, right? Something pops up. Click on the thumbnail, something pops up. Good. All right, with me on this one. This is why this is a common UI pattern. Okay, this is why this is listed under UI patterns. Okay, now if you spend all of your time, right, reviewing different light galleries, then you should. That's kind of my job, right? That's what I do. It's like, hey, let's go ahead and see which one's going to work best for our class. See how that one worked there? Oh, yeah, that's kind of gross. They put the demo inside of an iframe. See, all right, thumbnail. Click on this. Boom. Right, scroll through. Okay, same pattern, exact same pattern. And that's what I want you to be able to do. It's still a design class. All right, so I'm going to get rid of all those. So now this one says we have 1 of 1. Well, how do we make a second one? We hit close on this. We're going to take this and just repeat. And right now, Colin, I can count that. I have 2. I don't want to count this anymore. I'm done. I got this thing working. I'm done. I'm human now. I don't want to count this anymore. So when it says I have 1 of 1 image inside of this grouping, right, then now I have 2. And if you click on this, now it says 1 of 2, and that is a big, big deal. Okay, that is a big deal. Okay, right, so if I put in a 3rd or 4th one, right, or this, ready to be human, right. All right, there is a designer out there that's going through and counting all those, and so I can just do the quick math, right? There is a designer out there hard coding in this number, right? And then when someone adds or removes something to the gallery, they go, oh, right? And they start to moan and groan and get all upset. What you should be able to do is, hey, JavaScript, you're really good at counting. Do that for me, and then output that number. And that's where it's looping through everything that we have. All right, good. Check with me. Come on. Don't make me call out names. All right. So now that we get all of this, let's go ahead and customize this thing. All right, and to customize, let's go ahead and find the docs. All right, docs under options. We store all these options inside of a key value pair. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go back into this. Okay. And light gallery, first thing is this has 2 arguments, right? And I can give you some pseudocode on this. This right here is the thing to lightbox or light gallery, and this is the options for that thing, right? And they're all separated by a comma. So the thing is, hey, JavaScript, sorry, I almost said jQuery. Brian, you hear me say jQuery? All right, go to document, get element by ID, and go ahead and get that thing. And then comma, separate the second option, right? We know this from our homework on how we do functions for an argument, right? Functions, parameters inside of arguments. I'm gonna be referencing what we've been doing all quarter long on our homework, right? In the last few lectures here, okay? I don't expect you to memorize all this stuff. I expect you to go, oh, that's a function. Oh, that's a conditional. Oh, that's a loop. That's an array. Okay, and that's what we want to be able to do is start picking those pieces apart. Because once we understand how those pieces are constructed, we can begin to start making stuff. All right, and all those options are stored inside of an object, and objects are denoted by a set of curly braces, and there is a key and a value, right, to each one of these object pairs. Okay, and again, this is part of our homework when we look at objects. Right, and here it is, right? This idea of key names and value pairs, right? So color, green, price, right? Also an object. Okay, so we take a look at this. Now, who made this, right? Sachin Schuler. And Sachin Schuler said, hey, if you want this thing to look a different way, okay, change it. Well, we can change some of these values here. So let's go here and, what's some of the show high controls loop. Oh, all right. Let's see here. What options can we go ahead and take a look at? All right, we can change the mode. Okay. And one of the modes is this, the first mode is this one right here, where it's doing the, let me refresh this. Okay. Oh, I got to set one in. So the, oh, I have a wrong syntax here. We just have a listing of key value pairs. Okay. And I'm just going to give some space so we can see it. And we're going to use this key of mode. And the value you want to give that. Okay. And from early on in the quarter, right? What type of data is this? Right? Oh, we're getting late. Anonymous student says string. Perfect. Right? So that means it's going to need to be in quotes. Let's do this thing called LG fade. And here are all the different transitions you can see, right? So Sachin Kula said basically, look, I want people to use this. So I'm going to provide as many of these, transitions as possible. Ooh, what was that one? Right? He's like, I'm going to provide as many of these transitions as possible, and hopefully people will use them, right? But I don't want people to recreate them. So the default is LG slide. Let's go ahead and do LG fade, right? Now, who is creating these values for us, right? It's the maker, right? Not JavaScript, right? The plugin developer. Yes. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at LG fade. Now, when we zoom, right, it's going to fade, and it looks all the same because the images are the same, but you can see it kind of fading there. So there's LG fade. That's one option. Right. The other thing is that transition might be kind of fast or slow or fast for you. So let's go ahead and use speed. And that's going to be the other one. And all I'm doing is I'm just randomly picking. Okay. You should be able to use any of these options. So let's go comma and speed. And we take a look at what type of data is this. And good documentation says this is a number. So this shouldn't be in quotes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and see this default is 600. So let's go ahead and make it 1200. So we want this thing, maybe it's moving too quickly, right? So let's double the time, right? We're going to essentially double the time it goes from one image to the next. And this is kind of hard to see because they're all the same image. So let me go ahead and make a different image here. Let's do 1000 by 500. All right, so the first one is going to be 800 by 400. And the next one is going to be, right, notice that the time had been doubled. Okay, and we can make this 2400 and really make it slow if we wanted to. Okay. I'm going to do it again. Whoops, I have to go back to number 1. Okay. Good there? All right. All right, lastly, let's go ahead and grab a Boolean one. All right, hide display bars. Okay, backdrop duration. I want to show the controls. All right, so let's say you don't want the controls to be shown. It's simple. Go ahead and say the controls. Okay, so we're going to use this control key. Okay, again, we're separating each of our key value pairs with a comma. Okay. All right, and this is a Boolean expression. All I'm trying to do is pick some of the major data types. And this one, instead, so this one, the default is true. Okay, and now I'm gonna go set it to false. Let's see what that does. Okay, so part of the reason I picked this one, and it's why we've been using it, because there's a lot of options, right? Like the plugin maker really wants you to use that. Okay, all right, and there our controls are gone. All right, so there's that. Oh, download. Let's say we wanted to disable download. All right, we'll give one more and say nope. So by default, download is set to true. We can see here that, right, maybe we have proprietary images, or we just don't want someone to download our images. We don't want to give them that option. Well, we can come into here. Let's replace controls with download instead and set that to false. And now download is going to be, once it refreshes, download is going to be gone. Okay. All right, so if you can change one thing, you can change all the things, okay, or many of the things. And you're going to do this by referencing the API. Let's just take a look at this. Like, this is, woo, he's giving you a lot of options. Okay, so this is a good plugin. I highly recommend it. The downside of this plugin is it's a pretty big plugin because it has all these options, right? There's always a pro and a con. All right, but if you're looking for a lot of customization, this is one that we use. Let's see here. The last thing I want to do with this is, let's say you want to change the CSS on this. This is where we have control now, designers. All right, so you go ahead and run this thing. Okay. You're going to use your handy dandy dev tools and just inspect it. You can see here that you have this class called LG. What we're looking for here is this class that's going to give us, right, this backdrop. And if we come into here and we change the color, we go, oh, look, we can actually change the background opacity. All right, so if the plugin that you want, or you have a client that says, hey, I want you to match our brand color. Like, all right, cool, fine. Let's do it. All right, so let's say we want to match Eastern's red-ish. Okay, so let's go to our red, and we're going to change the opacity there. And we see that's on this class of LG backdrop. Okay. And how do we know we have the right class? Simple, cut it out. Right. If it's gone, that means it's the right class. There's also this header up here that we couldn't see before. All right, so now that we can copy the class name. So let's do that again. Just run one of these, inspect the thing that you want. And we see that the class is LG backdrop. And that's what we want. That's right here. So go ahead and just copy and paste. Now, you don't want to change these names because these belong to the plugin maker. So we come right here, LG backdrop. And maybe we want our background to be Eastern red. So there it goes. Our background is going to be red. And let's give it some opacity. So we're going to use RGBA. Oh, why do we do? We're doing this the hard way. Let's do this the dev tools way. Right, set that to some reddish color, change the opacity there. And we can just copy and paste out that value. And voila. Now, what if we wanted to add a border, right, into this image? Right? I'm just making stuff up right now, right? So now our stuff, all right, and this will be the last thing that we change, and we can get out of here. All right, so how do we get this image? Well, let's go start with the innermost element, right? That is the image right there that is being shown. How did I get there so fast? Control click, inspect element. Okay. So once we get into that, we see that, oh, look, there's a parent there called LG wrap, right? So LG image wrap. Okay, and so that gives me that. But really, if we keep going, oh, there's an even better a parent called LG item, right? It's a light gallery item. Perfect. So now that we have that, because why is this one more perfect? Because this one shows up on all of them, right? As we go through. Right, we can see the DOM being rewritten. See, everything that's highlighted yellow is JavaScript going in there and rewriting the shadow DOM. This is that shadow DOM that we're talking about. So now we can come in here, and LG item, and what is inside of our item? Well, right now it's just an image. And if I want to put a border on that, right, client says, hey, can you put a 10 pixel solid black border? There's this guy named Colin. He's always like putting 10 pixel solid black borders on something. There you go. Right. And we don't have to. Right. So even if the JavaScript doesn't get loaded, we can still get all of our content. We can customize everything inside of our CSS, right? And we have the ability to further customize its behavior with the plugin. And that's what makes for a good plugin. Okay, good. That took a little bit longer than expected, but with me on this one? All right, let's quickly, before we leave, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be working on for next lecture. I was hoping to get to this, but okay, back. So those are just some of the common UI patterns, and there's one specifically that you see or that you want. Let me know. We'll add it in the lecture. Where are we here? All right. So again, these are all referenced from CodePen, right? CodePen.io/topics. Okay, if you want to see all the different UI patterns there. So much so I even made a request, right? Or here you can suggest a topic, right? I suggested a library that they should feature. I suggested a UI pattern that they should feature, okay? Because there's more similar, right, than there is different. Okay? And what I want you to do is be able to understand what's similar. Okay. All right, so we're done with Light Gallery. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next part. All right, so one of the things we're going to be able to do is pick any CodePen pen and fork it. So what I want you to do for your P5 file is actually pretty straightforward. So let's say you're on CodePen and you can just search for p5.js. Okay. So you're going to submit two URLs, right? You're going to submit the original pen. Okay, so let's go ahead and take let's find an easy P5 one. Hopefully this is P5. Okay, so first we're going to check to see that it's P5. All right, this one is not. Maybe if I search for it. Here's the, all right. All right, so we found this pen. We see that it is indeed created in P5, right? We come into here and check out the source, right? P5 is all there, good. It's loaded in right up here instead. All right, so the first URL you're going to submit is this one. Right, show me the original source. And the next one you're going to URL is see how you fork this. And what I want you to be able to do is go through this, right, and change some stuff about it, and be able to change what this thing does and how it behaves, and maybe even small stuff you can start changing some of the colors. And same thing. I'm going to give you another reference in case you don't like that one. Is there is a great website. Okay, there's a lot of these websites. I'm going to give you so many different websites. Right, so here's the one that we're going to be modifying. Right, this is what we're going to be working on in next class. Okay, so I saw this example and I said, wow, this is really cool. It remaps the grid based upon the mouse cursor, right, and it's drawing with instead of RGB, HSB, hue, saturation, brightness, right, which is more human readable, and it's making this grid depending upon my mouse cursor. That's really cool, right? And let's say I like this glitch. Watch what happens now when I click on the S. All right, so I can click on S and it's going to save it as a PNG. Like I can actually, so this thing that I just made, now I'm going to share my, let's go ahead and I'm going to share my desktop with you. Okay. All right, I'm going to take a look here. I can, right, look, this is an image of the thing I just made, of the glitch, right? So I'm like, wow, this is a really neat use of P5, right? And then I said, all right, now how the heck does this thing work? And that's what we're going to be working with in the next class, is that we should be able to take this, right, figure out how it works, and then modify it to our liking, modify it to what we want. And if you want to get ahead, feel free to go ahead and take a look at this, right? And all I'm doing is I'm just going through here, right, figuring out how it works, right? And then saying how some of these concepts apply to what we've been doing all quarter long on our homework. All right, that's what we're doing for the next two classes. We're going to fork some P5 examples, right? Figure out how they work and then modify them. Good. Any questions? All right. Get caught up on your